Welcome to the edition of Boxing Info. I'm your host, The Islander. I'm going to keep it really short today. I've been gotten some demand for a video about the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight, and I just want to keep this very concise. And what I was going to go over my expectations before the fight, what happened during the fight, and the fallout afterwards. And very quickly, unlike the folks on HBO and other outlets around the world, I didn't discount this as just some circus act, because I take Conor McGregor very seriously. But I've been saying for years now that boxing has been dying a very slow death. Just very painful, slow death, and they're doing it to self-inflicted wounds, basically. My sister texted me the day of the fight as I was traveling and asked me who I wanted to win, and I responded to her immediately saying Mayweather, and she wrote back with question marks. The whole point to this is that if Mayweather would have lost the fight by a knockout, by a stoppage, by a decision, even if it was a controversial decision in a fight that he won, or if the fight would have went the distance with some question of who won, boxing would have basically suffered their death at that point. Because even though Mayweather had been out for 2 years, he is still looked upon as the person on the pedestal, as the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of the past generation, possibly. And with that said, what were the Islanders' expectations before the fight? Realistically, I had friends who were going on and on about, they thought McGregor had a real chance to win the fight, more than a puncher's chance, and I kept telling them, look, different MMA journalists were brought in to be questioned before this fight on how serious or how well Conor McGregor was going to do. One of the most telling things that I saw before this fight was Brett Okamoto, a very respected MMA writer who works for ESPN, was quoted as predicting Mayweather was going to win the fight by an 11th round knockout or stoppage. And his main reason or point to this was, and it's different than my expectations, but his main point to this was that they keep track of punch stat type numbers in the UFC, and Conor McGregor had a 53% defense ratio against strikes. What that means is, follow me here, that the guys who do not punch anywhere near as precise with the technique that a world-class championship boxer, not let alone one of the best of all time, being Mayweather, were landing 47% of their attempts on Conor McGregor. Now translate that to what would happen in the ring against a world-class boxer like Floyd Mayweather, who had picked apart everybody else's defense, and who was one of the best defensive boxers of all time. I mean, he may not be on par with Whitaker and Nicolino Lachey, but he was pretty damn close. Or Willie Pep, but he was in their league. Here's the deal. My expectations before the fight, as I told everybody who asked me, I was expecting a replay of Mayweather's fight against Arturo Gatti, where he would just come out guns a-blazing, and just every opening he saw, he would just blast. All right, worst case scenario, it would end up probably like, most of the experts were predicting, a late round stoppage. So when the fight got carried out, obviously, McGregor fought very smart for the time he was in the ring with Mayweather. He used his jab well, pop-shotted when he got a chance, and Mayweather, gave him the opportunities, like with that, hitting him with that huge uppercut early in the fight. And when that happened, I kind of knew nothing was going to change, that there would be no huge upset in this fight, because McGregor hit him with a clean uppercut while Mayweather was moving into it, which means the full force of the power of that shot was felt, and nothing happened. And slowly as the fight went on, Mayweather started fighting in the 5th or 6th round. One of my friends kept texting me saying, McGregor's pitching a shutout, and this and that. A guy who's been a boxing fan longer than I have. And I could kind of see that, sort of, maybe no. Like I said, I watch fights differently than other people do. But as I'm running out of time here, because I didn't want to keep this video very long, The And obviously you all know by now that McGregor ran out of gas. Mayweather started fighting in the 5th or 6th round and then started escalating. And the fight really could have been stopped and done within the 9th round because McGregor was hanging on for dear life. And finally in the 10th round, Mayweather was battering him around the ring like I thought he would do from the get-go. And the fight was stopped appropriately. Now, the best thing about this fight was ESPN's post-fight coverage where they were on scene at the fight. And I'm almost amused at the way Stephen A. Smith thinks that he's a boxing guru. And what I'm trying to explain here is that he did not like, and a lot of people did not like the fact that praise was being heaped on McGregor for his effort. Because the most telling thing that I heard from this fight was, or the coverage of this fight from ESPN, you know, Teddy Atlas was there, and so Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith described this as basically Mayweather as being a gourmet chef being forced to flip burgers, basically. And my point to this is I got news for you, Stephen A. Smith, and all you other Mayweather nut huggers out there. The name of this game is boxing, hitting without getting hit. So if you're fighting some opponent and he doesn't come right into the meat grinder that you present, being Mayweather, to get shredded up, and you actually have to come forward and work, tough shit. Tough shit. That's the way the game goes. So don't be sitting there saying that he's a gourmet chef that was made to flip burgers. I mean, he had to do real work this time when the fight looked like it was slipping away. And that's all I got for this video. I didn't want to talk about this, but, you know, unlike HBO, I don't discount this as being some circus farce. It was a real fight and entertaining for those who spent money on it. It wasn't me, but, you know, I'm going to be back on the flip side with some other news about, you know, the real boxing.